Right. And so, Eric Voegelin's a very highly regarded philosopher, historian, has written extensively on how Gnosticism was the birth of Nazism, Soviet communism, and all these collectivist ideas, that a small group should make all the decisions. Well, this paper that's written on this lithium, that's exactly what he says. He said that this is a revolutionary prospect, and we're going to harness water to control the population, and that it's a democratic idea. In other words, we're the ones who rule the majority, and we don't really care whether you object or not. We're going to do it. Look at the health care bill. Most Americans in the polls were opposed to it. Well, the elitists in Washington said, we don't care.
Yeah, it's a democracy. It's a democracy of the elitist control freaks.
Right.
Not even their fake mass democracy.
Right. It's an illusion. They present the collectivist utopian idea and say, here's the plan, now implement the plan. And then they create their polls to say, well, people want it in our mind, and so we're going to give it to them.
Well, here's another example. They lie to us and say that our founders modeled us off of Greece. The founders criticized Greece, and it was only the elite families who were allowed to vote, 1 bucket white stones, 1 bucket red stones, and they would vote and say, oh, we disagree with Socrates, throw him off the cliff, or, make him drink poison. I mean, they killed so many of those people who they disagreed with, who were part of the elite. So it's an absolute dictatorship of the scientific elite, and then none of us have any rights. And our republic is the opposite of that.
Yeah, and if you look at the wording of this lithium argument they're making, they're saying, well, most people aren't smart enough to understand how important this is, therefore we'll just have to force it down their throat. Well, that's what they did with fluoride, and look at what we've discussed so far. Well, it's DNA toxic. It's caused hypothyroidism. It's increased fractures, infertility. Several cancers increased in children dramatically. It's neurotoxic. Well, now you've created this destruction of the lives of millions of people, and yet they're still pushing the program. And they even have to admit that it doesn't prevent cavities at all. I met with a group of dentists and gave a lecture on fluoride toxicity, and one of the dentists said, well, we got to fluoridate the water because we take care of these poor kids in Jackson, Mississippi, and they all have rotten teeth that are crumbling. And I said, well, you've been fluoridating the water for 40 years. There shouldn't be any cavities. Yet you're telling me the same story that you sold this program to the United States more than 60 years ago, as if nothing's happened. Well, your fluoride obviously isn't working. They're all drinking fluoridated water. Their parents drank it. And yet you're still giving the same story that their teeth are rotting.
And then we've got all the studies admitting it's calcifying in the joints. Now you got young people getting arthritis. They admit it's attacking the brain, the eyes. And it's nothing to do with teeth, ladies and gentlemen. Zero. It makes you servile. And now they don't even deny it. They say, hey, we're going to put Prozac, we're going to put lithium in your water, and all the major medical institutes and the U.S. government are on record doing the studies and getting ready to propose it. Why do you think they're coming out in the open? Is it arrogance or a counter to you and I and many others exposing them? And have they miscalculated by coming out in the open now?
Well, I think that they feel they're so close to winning the whole game that they're impatient. And they don't care if you know what they're going to do now. For years they did it. At my age, I remember the days when no one I would talk to had ever heard of CFR. No one knew anything about the Rockefellers. No one knew about the tax-free foundation's influence. The vast majority of the public, that was something that was just a shrouded secret. Now it's all known. You can read extensively about it. So they have advanced this so far. They feel we're right on the precipice of taking over the whole thing, and nothing they can do about it. So we don't care if they know now. And so they're openly saying, yes, we want to control your minds. We want to make you where you can't have these emotions, where you no longer can independently think. We'll do the thinking for you.
And if you don't want government health care, we're going to call you racist. And if you don't want us to put lithium in, we're going to call you a tinfoil hat. And we're going, but after all these denials that this was to dumb us down and control us, you now admit it. And they look at you straight-faced in these news articles and videos and say, we know best, and you just want to punch them. I mean, doesn't it make you angry just as a man?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's infuriating because they're destroying the health of your children, and they expect you to just stand by helplessly and let them destroy your children. It's just like this vaccine program. There's no question that this massive vaccination of children is having a serious effect on their brain development. They expect you just to stand by and let them destroy your children. And they don't care whether you object or not. And, of course, that's infuriating.
Doc,
and this is what led the founders of this country to fight against England.
Doc,
this is why they formed a new country.
Doc, we've only got one more segment with you. Can we keep you till 40 after so we have plenty of time to cover this?
Sure.
All right, God bless you. We'll be right back after this quick break with Dr. Russell Blaylock, BlaylockWellnessCenter.com. All right, Dr. Russell Blaylock's going to be with us for this 5-minute segment, and about 10 minutes into the next segment until about 40 after or so, because I want to get more into the government health care. Another headline, National Health Services slash medical care in England, even basic things like surgery for cancer, broken legs. That's the London Telegraph. And I wanted to back up Dr. Blaylock here because in fact, guys, give me a document cam shot here. Axe falls on NHS service. NHS bosses have drawn up secret plans for sweeping cuts to services with restrictions on the most basic treatments. Then I have another Telegraph article here in my stack where they come right out and admit a 10-fold increase in violent epilepsy, in violent... I'm speechless that they know these vaccines are causing this brain inflammation, and now it's happening, and people are having violent seizures. But we've had a victory. They're being forced to stop giving shots to under 5s. Dr. Blaylock, break it down.
Well, I wrote approximately 5 papers about this, the mechanism by which it does that. I've watched interviews with Dr. Offit, who's the big promoter of vaccines, say they're completely safe, and there's no mechanism by which it could cause seizures. Well, this is just an absolute lie. It's in the medical literature, and I proposed in these peer-reviewed journal articles that are on PubMed, you can read them yourself, it goes through the mechanism by which vaccines do that. It's a very well-demonstrated mechanism. To vaccinate people repetitively has been shown to cause the brain to become chronically inflamed. And I name this immunoexcitotoxicity, the mechanism by which it does that. And it's well demonstrated in experimental studies in humans that this occurs. Well, this policy of just increasing the number of vaccines, more every day, is producing this chronic brain inflammation, which leads to seizures, degenerative brain disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's disease, numerous disorders. And for them to deny this or ignore it is incredible to me, as strong as the scientific evidence is.
Well, Dr. Blaylock, I just put the article up on screen, and I drew arrows to the government's own report that it's a 10-fold increase in convulsions. And I even, something I've never done on air before, I even wrote a cuss word under it. I said, bleeping, look at this. I mean, to look at children, not just my own, but everybody's children. I just love them. I want to protect them. They're innocent. They're good. That's a normal instinct. How can these globalists know it's causing cancer, know it's causing brain damage, know it's causing autism, know it's a IQ reducer, and when a child gets epilepsy, sometimes they get it for life from these shots, they admit, they are literally assaulting these people with a deadly weapon.
Well, you remember back when during the peak of all this flu, H1N1 nonsense, when you interviewed me, that was one of the warnings I gave, that if they gave this shot, we're going to have a lot of kids having seizures. And I predicted there was going to be, over the next decade, a significant increase in schizophrenia from vaccinating pregnant women. and the increase in autism. We're going to see that. It's going to take a decade to see the full impact, but already we're seeing the seizures. So I predicted it. They said I was crazy. Well, who turned out right? I said the whole thing was a phony scam, that there was no epidemic or pandemic. They said I was crazy. Well, how did it turn out? Well, I was right. It wasn't that I have a magical link to the Lord to find out. It's because the science said it in the first place. If you read the science in the very beginning of all this, it said it's a virus that does not transmit very easy. It's low virulence. So they lied from A to Z. And if you look at the CD site, it was right there. But the media, for some reason, couldn't bother themselves to even look at the CDC's own data, which I analyzed in great detail. Nobody refuted it, and it turned out I was right.
We're about to go to break, and we commend you for being right, sir. But what specifically? Is it squalene? Is it the aluminum? I mean, is it the adjuvants causing the autoimmune response, the brain swelling?
It's all of that. Anything that stimulates the brain's immunity, and all of those things do, and the more you add, the more intensely it stimulates it, the more it produces chronic brain inflammation.
And you've done research on the fact that most of Alzheimer's is brain inflammation, correct?
Well, I've put together the research that has been done that proves that.
Well, stay there. Stay there. We got to come back.